It's me, Unapologetically T, and I'm just basically picking back up on. I don't care who her audience was, and I don't know who this lady is personally, and I really don't care. However, I found fallacies and problems with what she was saying. She was like, "Yeah, because Americans don't even have the nerve to speak proper English." Well, like, do you not realize that, like, the English actually, the correct English, the proper English was actually like from Britain? Touche. UK? Their English? You mean their English? You mean the European English, huh? You mean their English? Because American English is a melting pot of shit. Half the rules is bizarre. Like, so you already taken a language from one group of people, finessing it and making your own, but then chastising people about not speaking it well. Also, not going through the context that we have poor people who did not have access to a great education. Because once again, we see that they build prisons based off whether you can read by the third grade on grade level. So you think they're going to be giving you a proper education? So you still think it's lazy? Then there are people, my people, who were killed for trying to learn your language because they wanted us what? They wanted us dumb. They wanted us not to be able to understand. They wanted that. They wanted that. So that's very problematic to me, to be so focused on language barriers when we're not looking at the actual government. And I ain't gonna say government. I'm gonna say we're not actually focusing on the powers that be. Because I feel like the faces in government is just the faces in government is politics. But we're not thinking about the powers that be that actually literally want us dumb, want us quiet, want us docile, just so they can continue to get over. But a lot of us don't want to let go of capitalism. So we stay in this American dream illusion where only a percentage of people will actually meet that dream. And only a small percentage of them who meet the dream will actually give back to the regular people who have not made it yet. When we all could be enjoying this earth for free. We all could have free, clean water if we just stop fucking polluting the earth. We all could have shelter and homes if we went back to building them. We all could just have these things that God created for us. See, people talk about religion, but they forget about that God gave us this earth. We were supposed to protect the animals. We were supposed to till the earth, which is good for nature, the trees, the birds, the bees, the animals, they're in the habitat. No, we're tearing down the trees. We're tearing down the trees. We're creating forest fires. Y'all remember Brazil was on fire? We're creating fires. We fucking the ozone. We done fucked the ozone layer up. We got people that think climate change ain't existing, but they not even paying attention to the fucking seasons outside. One moment I go outside, it feel like winter, and one moment it feel like spring. And we in fucking May. We in May. We in May. It's a little weird. It snowed in April one time. That was like 2 years ago or a year ago. I think it was 2 years ago. It snowed in April. But climate change don't exist. And even on the smaller scales, the ice caps are melting. Paying attention to, the news, I've seen articles written that, Miami will be underwater soon. Like parts of Florida will be underwater soon. Some states are already below sea level. So as the sea level starts to rise, goodbye. It doesn't matter what man-made contraptions you build. Like we're destroying the planet that we were sent here to take care of and enjoy. We were supposed to do the work, reap the benefits. But yet we're doing a lot of extreme work and not reaping a lot of benefits, and then the earth is getting destroyed as well. So this video was on education, and we went there. And I just think like I'm gonna be me, and those videos go there sometimes, and I don't know. I just feel like it's my responsibility to speak out on the shit that I think is wrong. I've been speaking out on the shit I thought was wrong in my life. It is time for me to speak out on the things that I think is wrong. When I started this journey, I said I was not calling out any systems, but I think that it would be a disservice to my experiences in life not to call out education. Not to call out education. And I will say higher learning, you do have some work to do as well. You really do. Advising has a whole lot of work to do. A holistic approach needs to come into play, which means that you would need to actually have a nice size number of advisors to actually not overload your advisors. You have so many students on one advisor that like you literally could make more money by hiring more advisors, because they would have a more intimate relationship with the students and be able to keep track of them and be able to check on them when they haven't heard from them in a while. But when you give them like a caseload of 200 students, they cannot individually check on each 200 students or write heartfelt messages that say, hey, I haven't heard from you in a while. Like they can't do that with 200 people. It's just impossible. But you're outsourcing it. You're not necessarily outsourcing. You're cutting areas of funding. I find that in higher education, you're cutting areas of funding in certain job positions that you actually need. Education is human interaction with human beings, unless you're doing some online virtual stuff. But education on average has been a human to human interaction, or a human to book, or now we see with human and technology. However, nobody can replace human to human reaction. Like, the students need to know that someone cares. The student needs to hear that you should talk to your professor if you're not doing good. The students should know who their advisors are. Their advisors are there for support. Their advisors are not just there to pick classes. They are there to help that student with what they need. You are there to guide. You are there to guide. So I do say like higher education, like VCU is a failure at that for me. Like I advised myself in college. So when I got to the end and I was told I needed 6 more credits, I was pissed off. Number one, I felt like, well, I did my worksheet, did my degree works, and it did not pop up on there. So where is this extra class? Then on top of that, like I maybe met with my advisor once. She never reached out to me and was like, let's set up an appointment. And because I had horrible experience with my other one, I just felt like I should do it myself. And instead of giving her a try, an extra try, because I met with her and we didn't connect. It just seemed like I was a number. She was an Indian woman from India. And I just felt like a number once again. And I never went back to her until I got an email from her saying that like I couldn't graduate because I was missing 6 credits, and it was like, well, you emailed me at the last minute, and it wasn't that I couldn't graduate. I still could walk. I just needed to do the classes during the summer. That's all. And I was at the point where I was about to say fuck it, and then my stepdad's mom died, and like I kept getting messages that you came too far, don't let it go. And look at today how the degree is coming in handy. So yes, I do say that like education wise, VCU was worth it. It was worth it. The experience was worth it. The meeting with my professors, like I've met so many great professors that I have formed relationships with, and still can talk to or call to this day. And I love that aspect of VCU too. The networking, the clubs, the organizations. I participated in like the SVEA and some other ones too. I was doing a lot, brain fog, but I think VCU failed me with advising. Definitely as a, I mean, I'm a weird first gen. My dad did go to community college, however, my dad didn't give me any information about college. Period, point blank. Like, not how to fill out an application, not his GI Bill for assistance. Like, he literally told me I could not use his GI Bill because he was thinking about going back to school, and he was in his late 50s or 60s, early 60s, and it was like, well, why are you choosing that? But I was like, okay, so that's how I thought the GI Bill worked. I thought I had to have his permission, so I left the shit alone. He ain't try to advocate. He ain't try to go find out information. All along, I could have got assistance and he still could have went back to school. But guess what? He never even went back to school. Like, the GI Bill got wasted. None of us got to use it. So I had no preparedness when I went to college. My stepdad had a degree. However, um, I had no support or preparedness. Like, he never helped fill out an application. No one directed me towards scholarships. My friends did have opportunities because, once again, oh, it was a story. I don't know if I even told that story about that later, but my guidance counselor at my high school, like, I remember that bitch told me that I was only gonna work at Walmart. She was like, the only job I could have was bagging groceries at Walmart. It was That was wild. And me and her had never gotten into it. She might have just heard that I had an attitude problem, or she didn't like my mouth. Maybe she heard me say something to somebody, and she couldn't wait to cut me down. But thank you, bitch, because that fueled my fire. I was like, who she talk about? I felt like Biggie, bitch. Like, your ass ain't even making no money here. I knew people who were in school making more money than her. So, like, it was like, you downing me. You're not making no money. And obviously you miserable in your job that you would cut a child down like that. I ain't never in my life. Never. So I didn't get scholarship opportunities. I was self-taught through college, self-taught everything. I learned how to fill out scholarships, and this was probably like closer to me going to grad school. Like, I was able to accumulate some scholarships by the time I went to grad school, um, which I'm so very thankful for my donor, my sponsor. I think her name was Virginia, and I think it was like a scholarship through that she has that was in her name. Really nice lady. So, yeah, but I didn't get those opportunities that, other people per se had. Like, when I say, like, a lot of things I had to get it out the mud, I had to get it out the mud, and it probably was because of my attitudes and my disposition. The sad part about it is that I was a hurt kid. I was a hurt kid. I was an intelligent kid, but I was a hurt kid. When I put my effort and my all into something, like, better stand back and watch it grow. Like, and I've learned that about myself. Like, tell me no. Tell me no. And God telling me yes. Better move out the way. Better move the fuck out the way. So, I had to advocate for self. I'm gonna call myself first gen because there was no one who had been to college that walked me through that experience, or knew what that experience was for me that I could talk to. Because my stepdad during that time, he was going through his own thing, and then my parents were like separating also, so it was just like a clusterfuck. um, at home. So, yeah, I became my own advisor. I did build a community and find resources on campus. I do appreciate the unveiling and the real raw education, having access to education, having access to journals, having access to passionate professors. I love that. I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. Working in community college, I have such a respect for the professors there. You guys are awesome. A lot of you are there because you are so passionate about the students, and that's all we need you to keep doing. Um, I can't complain about the professors. The students might, but I, as an educator, looking, from another position, because I didn't work in the teaching department like the professors, but I've worked with them through the program that I worked with, and phenomenal educators, phenomenal people, definitely fostering learning in our students, and I think that is one place where community college is winning. You are picking awesome people to guide your students to success. They are making these connections with the students and showing them that they're human, yet providing them with a great education. Um, Giving students grace when it needs to be given, and knowing that fine line between grace and, students just taking full advantage of you. I feel like y'all do a perfect job with that. But I do find that, like, at the community college I work at, is this disconnect for the students. It's like it felt like a number. It just felt like a number. And I don't feel like community college should feel that way. I don't feel like it should feel that way whatsoever. And it's really big on, like, let's get these students in here, but it's not. They say they're working on retention, but I feel like you can't work on retention if you don't have resources for students who actually do want to be there. Now, I do feel like they do a great job with they had like a part of it, I think it was called Single Stop, and that definitely helped with food scarcity and resources for people who might be experiencing like homelessness and going through these things. I love that. That was a holistic part of it. However, I just still, on the overall bigger picture, is just still, it doesn't feel unified. Like, these departments aren't connected. It just feels so disconnected, and you can't really tell who's for the students and who's not sometimes. And then sometimes it's blatantly clear who's not, and then sometimes you have people burnt out. But I just think from an employee looking in, employee appreciation is definitely a morale that needs to be done at the one that I worked at. Treating students like they're not numbers, I feel like that could be changed. Education wise, I think the education is just, it matches university level education. For anyone who thinks that community college is subpar learning, you're wrong. These students are learning. And the students that was in my program were being able to do research projects as an undergrad. Not only just an undergrad, but as a community college student undergrad. It doesn't happen. Doesn't happen much. It's hard to get that experience on the university level as an undergrad, and it's even harder to find programs like that in the college. So I say we're doing things right in higher education. I think it's the best, the better of the educations. And my pain point is the price. So we are providing great education. We are providing safe spaces to explore, critique, learn, research, question. When I say critique, I mean question. question things and question learning. And I think that's the only way you can learn if you have that space to do so, instead of just being told this is how it is and that's it. So I do think that, however, I graduated with 3 degrees from the same college, 100,000 in debt. I think when it started out, I was maybe like 90. With interest, it's probably like 130,000. Price is terrible. Price is terrible. Price is terrible. Community college price is great. It ain't ideal, but I feel like education should be free. Why are we putting a price on who can learn? Wouldn't we have a better society if people could learn? Why are we making people pay for education? Education should be free. Medical should be free. Other countries are doing it and it's working. It provides better citizens. But I understand when you don't want your citizens to be intelligent and you want us to be gaslit by white women making videos about how lazy and ignorant we are because we do not pronunciate TH in this. Because, bitch, I'm going to say this all day. You can get with this or you can get with that. And I have 3 degrees and I'm not lazy. Sometimes I am. Sometimes I'm lazy. Sometimes I don't want to read a book. And that's okay too. But sometimes I need to read a book, and I do. Today, I didn't read a book. I listened to a book because my brain was just, it was done. So I didn't want to read anymore. But I listened to it and I still learned. Same way I would reading it. And so I think we need to be careful on how we talk to each other on trivial things about what's proper and all this stuff. We need to look back and see who created these standards. Because it's not just in the school who created these standards of learning that we have in society. Because each state has their own standards and it's called something else. But each state has its own testing. For Virginia, it's SOLs. But society has the same thing set up for life. It's these standards that don't even match any of the religions, any of the spirituality of what we know about life itself. It doesn't match it. Water was meant to be free, yet we pay a water bill. And I understand. The water got to get cleaned and recycled. I understand, but it's supposed to be free. The way that we keep it free is by we treat the earth right. We just treat the earth right. That's the way we keep it free. Shelter was supposed to be free. I mean, you're supposed to labor to do it. You were supposed to labor to build a house. You were supposed to labor, put in work that way. So I understand if you gotta pay somebody. But why are we paying taxes on shit? Why are we paying taxes on shit that's already built, that's already established at us? Do you know how many people lose their homes because of that? So I think that's why America likes us dumb, because if we start to actually unveil and we actually start to pay attention and learn, we will start questioning things that do not make a whole lot of sense. Why are the people that are protecting and serving killing us? Why? They're supposed to be protecting and serving us. Why are they killing us? Because they have a racist history and they were created just to police us. And just to be fair, jail wasn't created for us originally. The niggas that got to sleep it over was white people. They got to sleep it over in those little jail cells they used to have back in the day. Black man was gonna be hanged, beaten, whipped, You want to think about policing. Policing and patrolling was started to keep up with runaway slaves. But we don't have these conversations, so we don't realize how our society was based off of. It was built and based off of white supremacy. We don't even pay attention that like black people were, what was it, 3/5? I can't remember, but I think it was 3/5 of a person. We don't even take time to process and see how that feels. So when I did this video, I was scared of where it might lead me, because I know that once I started talking about this shit, like people who know me and I talk about this in my everyday life, you're used to it. But people who don't know me, I don't know. I'm told not to care. Like, I'm told not to care about my delivery. It's about the message, and that's that. And whoever, can't pick it up, it's not for you. And whoever can, it's for you. So a lot of my videos have been about freeing yourself and healing. And this is from your personal stuff. I guess now these videos are going to be taking some turns sometimes to free yourself and heal from a system who has abused you. We look at the people in our lives that have abused us, like how we treat pedophilia, rape culture in America. That's another video for another day. We condemn the victims and we excuse the abusers. So that was my little talk about education, and that video triggered this talk because it was like, we're not about to paint this false narrative. What we're going to do is tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth. We're not going to tell part truth. So any countries or any groups of people who are looking at American people like, oh, you're so stupid. You want people to come over here and take, the naturalization test, and you don't even know the answers to it. You're right. They don't. The average American don't. It's not their fault, though. You might think it's their fault because you're like, oh, but you have access to this and that. They're brainwashed. You will be too if you don't keep a hold on things. It'll get to you too. So be careful. Because this is like, for my group of people, for Americans, this is like over 400 years in the making for us. Like, whether you white or black, brown or whatever, like, this rat race has been 400 years in the making for us. Psychological damage and brainwashing passed on generation to generation, and even when you try to break the code, they kill you. But what they think they do is kill you, but all you do is multiply and come back, and you continue to have this cycle until one day it finally falls. I think about like Babylon falling. That's what I think about, the fall of the colonizers, because I'm not going to say the fall of America. I'm going to say the fall of the colonizers. The powers that be. The powers that managed to stay and keep its lineage strong and in control. But yeah. This video was big for me because I'm speaking out about stuff that is definitely needed to be spoken out about. Not that my other stuff is not important. I will continue to create content like that, and I just want to add this another layer of stuff in here. So hope this was good for you. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can put them in the chat. My ignore game is good for any negative shit, so I've learned that throughout life. I can check out real quick if I need to and give it to God. So y'all have a good time processing these videos. Well, I hope you had a good time, because if you made it to this point, then that means that you had a good time because you wanted to continue watching. So if you made it to this point, I feel like you're not of the brainwash. And if you were, you're, my lips is dry as hell. I don't even know what my thing at. But if you made it to this point, then you're not of the brainwash. Or if you are still in the brainwashy phase, you know, there's still hope because you were interested in listening to this. And you know, all I could tell you is pick up a book and read. It's in the books. It's in the books. The more expensive the books, the more valuable the information. Anything you need to know is in a book. I will say, you know, it can be scary once you do realize truths. I've had to grow up as a child knowing these unpleasant truths because I was black. So I was not given the luxury of not being aware that things were messed up and not fair. And that was one of the things I always used to tell my mom, like, that's not fair when it came to like injustices. And she'll be like, what are you gonna do about it? Or this is her favorite one. No, she said, what can you do about it? And I used to be like, I could change it. And she was like, it's not gonna start with one person. And it does. It starts with one person and them working on themselves and then those helping others. That's how it starts. So, but she used to always love rubbing it in my face as a kid and be like, life ain't fair. And I'm like, yeah, I know. I'm stating this. I'm stating that life ain't fair. And then she would rebuttal with life ain't fair. Like, but I get it. That is her perspective from things. Like, she grew up in a time where shit was what it was. And you had to be careful because you could die. 1950s, you could die. You could die. Today, you could die. But fuck it. You only get one life. And I'd rather have a life that was meaningful and purposeful. And I was thinking the other day, like, I want to leave these memory cards to my grandchildren and child, because I don't have another one. Even though I do foresee another one, maybe. I don't know. I think it'd be horrible to start all over, but there's this maternal part of me that's saying, why not one more? And then there's the same part in me that's like, first of all, you didn't die the first time. Second of all, do you really want to do this over again? So, yeah, I don't know. I'm going on my little rants. I'm going to get off. I'm going to go play Harry Potter. No, I'm going to go work on my website. I went and took pictures today in the park, and it was dope, and it was fun. So, I'm going to go work on my website. So that can be up and running soon. Oh my God, being a business owner, there's so many fucking parts. And then there's so many people who want a percentage. Like, they want a percentage for you to get paid from a person by using digital ways, electronic transfers. Like, should just pay me in cash. That's why they're trying to get rid of cash, so they can just charge us for everything, like a surcharge for me to get my money. It's just crazy. So I am trying to find like ways around it, but I guess that's gonna be is what it is. But building that website, when I thought about that, I just thought about having to link payments to services. So all right, y'all, bye. Hope you enjoyed. Education system in America. Hope it didn't depress you. Hope it pissed you off. And I hope you let that fuel your fire for change.